Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Money in Motion. I'm your host, Jordan Maxwell, a qualified financial planner based here in London. Now, if it's your first time here, just want to set the tone. What this series isn't is a deep dive into the latest investment trends or pretending there's some secret sauce to building long-term wealth. The whole point of this is simple: to help you build better money behaviors, to make smarter financial decisions, and actually move forward step by step toward a stronger financial future. Each episode is designed to be short, straight to the point, and give you something practical you can reflect on or act on immediately. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. So I want to kick off this episode with a question. And that question is, do you feel rich? If the answer is no, will you ever feel rich? And I need to be super clear here. This isn't about earning potential, right? I've seen people earning very good money, still feeling financially behind, still feeling stretched, still feeling financially uncertain. Right? But this is about the feeling of I've made it. I've reached a point and I now am rich. I now feel rich. Right? It's a tough question. And I think most people don't feel rich and never will feel rich. Now, having thought about this a while, there are three key reasons that support this thought for me. And I want to spend some time in this episode digging into what those reasons are. The first of which I think is most people, their lifestyle rises. When I say lifestyle, I mean the cost of their lifestyle, cost of living, rises faster than their awareness does of what's actually happening. Now, if you listen to previous episodes of Money in Motion, you'll know I talk a lot about lifestyle creep, but this goes deeper than just spending more money as you earn more money. Every time your income increases, your definition of quote unquote normal changes with it. The new watch becomes normal. The expensive holidays, traveling business class, becomes normal. The upgrade to the car or the house or the flat becomes normal. And once something becomes normal, naturally you'll stop emotionally appreciating it in the same way. And your brain will start chasing the next thing, the thing that's not normal. And what that means is that feeling of being wealthy, being rich, I am wealthy, I am rich, never quite arrives. And what you just end up doing is maintaining a more expensive version of a normal life, or what's normal for you. And as I mentioned, this is not necessarily to do with earning potential. A lot of people are earning enough to feel comfortable financially, but they've unconsciously built a lifestyle that will consume all or most of their income. So that's number one. Number two is most people don't actually know where they are financially, I've found. That's a bit strange, but it is true. And again, this is not necessarily to do with earning. Most people know what they earn. If I was to ask someone, how much do you earn a month? They can pretty much tell me pounds and pence what their net take-home pay is a month. Jordan, I earn £2,636 and 47 pence. They know down to the penny what they earn per month. But what they don't know is the bigger picture. What stage they're in financially? What progress have they made? What are they aiming towards financially? So instead, because they don't know this, right, they've got no direction, you'll judge yourself, right? We judge ourselves emotionally. And the easiest way that we do this is through comparison. Again, a topic I've spoken about in a previous episode, right? We create that constant feeling of, I should be further ahead by now. right? We look at the person next to us, the person over there. He's just like me. He's my age and he's achieved X. She comes from where I come from and she's done Y. Why haven't I done it? We're the same, right? I should be further ahead than I am. And I just want to take a quick pause here because I want to transition over to the 5 stages of wealth creation. This is the reason, this exact reason, the comparison, the not knowing where you are. This is the reason I created the 5-stage wealth framework. I realized that people need context, a way to understand where they currently sit financially. Now, if you're not familiar with the 5 stages of wealth framework, there's 5 stages that people will typically find themselves in financially. Number 1 is survival. Number 2 is comfort. Number 3 is awareness. Number 4 is control. And number 5 is freedom. Now, if you're curious as to where you currently sit, if you feel like you're drifting a bit and you're not quite aware of where you are in one of those 5, I've created a quick quiz. It's about 14 questions, all multiple choice. I've put the link to that quiz in the show notes. It's free, it's quick, it's easy. You can take it. It will tell you exactly where you sit in the 5-stage cycle. And then hopefully from there, you can make better decisions moving forward. Because when you don't know where you are, it's very difficult to feel like you're making progress. And you just, as I say, you just drift through the pay rises and the expenses and the life changing, no real clarity. Okay. And honestly, most people are doing quite well, right? They're doing better than they think. They just haven't stopped long enough to recognize it and they just simply do not know where they sit. So if you're curious as to where you are, again, I've left the link to the quiz in the show notes. Head over there, take the quiz, let me know how you get on, and hopefully you find it valuable. Back to the episode. The third reason people never feel rich, in my opinion, and I think this is one of the most important ones, is because they confuse the concept of income with wealth. They are not the same thing. If you think about it this way, income is what comes in to the bank, wealth is what stays. Yeah? And I'll give you some examples of how this works. So someone could be earning 200 grand. For most people, we would consider that a pretty good annual income. But they have no control over their spending. So they're earning 200 grand, but their expenses are 190,000. They've given themselves, in theory, a £10,000 headroom a year, or just over £800 a month to do something with. Right? They've got £800 disposable income to do something with, to build wealth with. Now, if we compare that to someone who's earning half that amount, they're not earning 200, they're only earning 100. I say only, but 100 grand is still a pretty decent income. They're earning £100,000, but their expenses are 70,000. So they've got a £30,000 financial headroom. That's 2,500 a month compared to the 800 or so pounds that person number 1 had. That person, I would say, has much more options, much more flexibility to build long-term wealth with than someone who has £800. So again, this isn't about how much you earn. I really need to stress that point. And again, this is where it comes back to why people don't feel that feeling of I'm rich never arrives, is because they conflate income with actually being wealthy. Just because you're earning a really good income doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to automatically feel wealthy. Okay? In my opinion, in my experience, real wealth is less about what's visible. It's less about the visible lifestyle, more about the options that you give yourself. The freedom, the flexibility, that financial breathing room. It's that ability to say, I don't have to do this. I don't want to do that. Therefore, you don't need to do it. Right? Because you've got the financial leverage to say no to certain things. And I think a big culprit in this confusion between income and wealth and what wealth actually looks like has to be social media, right? I think the elephant in the room, we know social media has distorted this massively. We've all been sold the idea that wealth is loud, It's the luxury cars, the boats, the designer everything, the constant upgrades to the lifestyle and the beach holidays and the whatnot. But again, in my experience, doing what I do for a living, a lot of actual wealth is quiet. It looks low stress, good habits, investments that silently compound in the background. And the key word there is silently. Honestly, that's the version of wealth that's far more sustainable. And I think it's important to say here that this isn't me saying that you shouldn't want nice things. You shouldn't want the cars and the boats and the Rolexes and all that kind of stuff. If that's your thing and you can afford to do it, do you? But if your lifestyle expands every single time that your income does, you go out and buy yourself the new watch, you go out and buy yourself the new car, you make renovations to the house, you go on the big holiday, whatever it is, and you do all that without any intentional wealth building alongside it, you don't give yourself, you haven't built in any breathing room financially alongside it, you can end up trapped in the weird cycle where you earn more, but never actually feel financially free. And I can imagine that's pretty exhausting. Okay, so key takeaway for this episode is you can earn really good money, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to feel wealthy. And the best way for you to do that is to get some awareness around what you want to achieve. Okay, because if you don't do that and you're just drifting through life, that moment will never come. And again, that's a pretty exhausting way to live. Now, if you found this useful, make sure to follow, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And if someone came to mind whilst you were listening to this episode, send it their way. Maybe they'll get some value out of it as well. All right, that's it for this time. I will catch you in the next episode. Take care.